Welcome to the soap that is my life. I did some seriously heavy stuff these past few videos about the multiverse and biocentrism thing. And I'm contemplating on doing one on the simulation theory this weekend. But just for now, I wanted to do one a personal one, not a theory-based one. Last Thursday, I was in the panel at Dr. Lupo's and in Dr. Lupo's channel, in the chat, the live roundabout chat, and there was some talk about near-death experiences and some seriously great stuff was said there. Now, this roundabout chat thing, Dr. Lupo does a great job in it. He's an absolute joy to do live chats with, but the system itself has some limitations, as in the fact that there's a topic, he goes around and let everybody talk about it, and generally when I had spoken and some other people started talking and some other ideas came in my head that I wanted to share, but by the time it was my turn again to talk, they changed topics. And one of the topics was near-death experiences and people who see actual dead people. And I was thinking, that's crazy. There was this story about a guy, and it's been going around on YouTube. Within the Mandela effect, there's a story about a guy that had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend died, and then like 2 years later, or a few years later, he saw her back at a gas station, and he went to her, started to talk to her, and she didn't even know the guy, and she was dating somebody else. Very eerie, very strange story. And I was thinking, I don't recall seeing dead people. And then it suddenly hit me. There are actually two stories that happened in my life that are kind of not really like, not the same, but kind of like that. The first is there was this guy when I started working at my work as a garbage collector. I started as a guy collecting garbage behind the truck, and then I went to get my license for my truck, and I started driving the truck. And there was this guy in the beginning, and he kind of was a dispatcher. But when we were a small group, and everything was like not amateuristic, but everything was less regulated and less ruled, and with rules and laws and stuff. And when they became greater, the laws came in and the regulations came in, and the guy who was dispatching, didn't have the diploma for it, and they didn't want him there anymore. But he was a mechanic, so they put him in as a mechanic, and then he got into like an altercation with the guy who led the mechanics team, and they said, you know what, you can choose, you can go back driving a truck, or you can leave the company. So he left the company. About 2 years ago, I off and on, because he lives in my city here, but we lost touch anyway. He lives like 3 or 4 blocks over, or streets over. Once in a while I met him, and the last time I met him was like 2 or 3 years ago. I met him, I started talking with him, how are you doing, I don't know what, he asked me, are you still working at EOK? I said, yes, I'm still working there and stuff, normal stuff. A few weeks ago, we got talking about in my new service that I do with the same company, but the new service I go to. We work with another company that has some people who had some either bad luck with getting work or who have a drug past or an alcoholic past, and they take these people and try to get them back in the working community. And one of them had worked with our company as an interim, and we got to talk about, you know, the olden days and when we were behind the truck and I don't know what. Do you remember this guy, Wilfried? Do you remember him? Yeah, I said I remember him. I ran into him like 2 or 3 years ago. It was the last time. And the guy turned to me and said, that's impossible. I said, why is it impossible? He's living just 3 streets over from me. No, that's impossible because like 8 or 9 years ago, the guy committed suicide. He was in a depression and he committed suicide. I said, what? I said, you can't say that. That's just... And I actually went to look for it through the internet. I tried to find a way to see it, and the guy, it doesn't state the reason why he died, but he died like 8 years ago, and I saw him like 2 or 3 years ago. I met him, I ran into him, I talked to him. If the discrepancy was like, you know, he died 4 years ago and I thought it was 2 or 3 years ago, I could have said, yeah, maybe it was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it was just before this thing happened. But the discrepancy is too great. It's 5 years. It's still it kind of hit me a little. I don't know how these things happen, but you know. And the other thing is, it was from the same area time frame when the first guy worked with us. We had this guy working with us, and he was like 2 or 3 months on sick leave. I think it was 3 months on sick leave, and then suddenly the rumor began to spread that the guy had died of a heart attack. So I went to the office, to our office, and I spoke to the head dispatcher there, who wasn't the guy I talked about. I talked to the head dispatcher and said, what the hell happened? Yeah, well, he had a heart attack, and it was like 3 weeks ago, and I went to his funeral and stuff. Yeah, okay. So these things happen, yeah. 2 weeks went by, and suddenly the guy appeared at work. And I went to him and said, I'm sorry, I don't want to scare you or anything, but people were saying that you were dead. He started laughing. He said, that's a peculiar rumor to say. I'm not dead. I didn't die. I was just sick. I had some problem with my back, and I don't have any problems with my heart or anything. That's strange. So I went to the office again, went to the head dispatcher, and I told him, I said, hey, our friend is back. He said, yeah, why wouldn't he be back? He's been 3 months at home with his back, but there wasn't any problem with him. And I thought, what? But the guy told me that he had told me that he was with me on his funeral, and I didn't want to, go into it, and I said, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't have dreamt it, I couldn't have imagined it, but it was long before I had the Mandela effect, and I was like, yeah, okay, I must have, I must have been wrong or something. And then 2 months later, the same guy goes back on sick leave, and like a month later, they told me he died of a heart attack. And this time it was true. This time he didn't come back anymore. So, did I go into the future? Or did I see a future or something? or did I enter like, or did I come from, you know, my consciousness came from another reality, or did my, or do my, my memories come from some other reality or timeline? It's very strange. It's very strange, and that's actually the stories I had. You know, apparently I see dead people too. It's very strange. The problem is you have these stories and you come into the Mandela effect, and they don't happen like just like that, and then suddenly you begin to see these stories in another light and in another you know, in another light, in another meaning. You give another meaning to it. The other day I suddenly remembered something that I had forgotten for a long time, and it was because it happened to me again. I was sleeping and I woke up really disoriented. Like I woke up in, like you wake up in a strange place, or really disoriented. I didn't know what time it was. I didn't know what day it was. I didn't even know, should I go to work? Where am I? And very rapidly, within like 15 or 20 seconds, this feeling dissipated, and I was, oh yeah, it's that day, and it's that, and I have to get up because I have to go to work, and I don't know what. And these things, they used to happen to me when I was younger. I used to wake up disoriented and not knowing where I was and what time it was and stuff. And lately it has been happening to me again. I don't know if it relates to the Mandela effect, but strange tales and strange times and strange things are happening to me. Strange stuff. Yeah, that's just, I just wanted to talk like this. I wanted to say you this personal stuff more, and I hope you like this more personal talk. And if you had experiences like that, please leave some comments. Tell me about them. And from my reality to yours, I hope to see you again next video. Bye.